on. All right, Nancy Pelosi, meanwhile, getting a lot of pressure from the left, and some Democrats now are actually calling for her to go.
Some. We always have this discussion. One is one, two is a couple.
Has been a number.
Three is a few, some. But I feel very confident in the support that I have in my caucus.
All right, it's about half a dozen, actually. Congresswoman Kathleen Rice among them, Democrat of New York, who said, and I quote, Nancy Pelosi was a great speaker. She was a great leader, but her time has come and gone, which is, I think, the Congresswoman's way of saying, go! I think. All right, to Republican fundraiser Noel Nick Moore, Democratic strategist Sarah Badawi. Sarah, what did you make of that? And the speaker's quite right. It's not exactly, or the former speaker's right, it's not a brush fire, but it's looking like it could be. What do you think?
Well, I definitely don't think this is a Nancy Pelosi problem. I think it is a critical moment for the party to reassess its platform. Until we're willing to put forward a bold economic vision and candidates who are willing to challenge power, we're going to continue to fail to break through. The lowest common denominator. But that power is Nancy Pelosi, too, right? I mean, if other members feel that she is not either representing them or past her prime, and that can be cruel, but you see teams do it when they fire head coaches or companies when they get rid of CEOs. It happens all the time. Why hasn't it happened here? Sure. I think taking stock of who's in charge is never a bad idea. But the bottom line is that looking at 1 month of fundraising doesn't paint the whole picture. Democrats have brought in record numbers since the election, and more importantly, the progressive grassroots groups on the ground have been bringing in a ton of money for the local races that they're helping all across the country.
Well, my point is the money is one thing, but you got to deliver the goods, right?
Sure. But I think, again, it goes back to who we're running in 2018. And I think Leader Pelosi sees that. She knows that we need to put up inspiring candidates that'll support a bold economic vision, and that'll turn the tide.
All right. No, that's what she's hoping. And she has been able to pull out a victory when she's been up against the wall. And then maybe she's still hoping with the pickup in Democratic votes in all 5 of these contests that we've seen, that even though Democrats lost each and all, they did do better than they did in the election back in last fall. So what do you make of the argument that the trend is her friend?
No,
Noel first. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I think Nancy Pelosi, I think that she's not the entire problem. We all know that, but she is a spoke in the wheel, so to speak. And if you're going to clean house, if you've got to realize, that this is not working, their entire message is off kilter. And I think that a lot of, especially with the special election, which translates into fundraising dollars, a lot of their message is, anti-Trump. And what they don't understand is the anti-Trump, that's actually become an anchor to them, not the wind beneath their wings to go on and raise more money and to win elections. Although they were close, a lot of it that has to do with some of the rhetoric, you really cannot, you can't look at that total and think that that is what's going to keep them going. In other words, Nancy Pelosi is part of the bigger picture, and she's part of the problem. But you need to look a little deeper too. If you're going to get her out, you need to look at replacing her, and you need to look at Perez, who's the new DNC chairman, and you need to look at Ellison, the co-chairman. Both of these people are responsible for wrapping their hands around the message that people get forward to raise money on, and it brands the party. So this, in effect, Pelosi, Perez, and Ellison, they're a team, and it's a bad team because not only are they not raising money, but they're sending out a message that's not resonating to get new members.
I absolutely disagree.
Really, that's surprising. So one of the things that it could play both ways in politics, I understand that. But Sarah, the one thing I'm curious about is then it is conceivable that a lot could change in 18 months, and it oftentimes does. I mean, but the fact of the matter is, Republicans should, and I think Noel would agree, they have to get some legislative victories here. They have to resolve this health care thing. They probably have to get the tax cut thing done. And that, barring accomplishing that, then maybe Democrats do take over the House. Is that really what it comes down to for you?
Well, I think right now what we're seeing is that there's still a record amount of grassroots energy, and these 4 special elections really are not a harbinger of things to come.
No, you're right about that grassroots energy, but are you surprised that there was plenty of grassroots energy on the other side, more than what was going on the Democratic side? That surprised a lot of us.
Well, there is a ton. And I think Noelle has a good point in that we can't just resist Trump. It's incumbent upon Democrats to put forward a bold economic vision and run candidates who are willing to challenge power and speak to something really inspiring. I mean, you know who's not struggling to raise money? It's our most progressive members. So I think the party needs to follow that lead.
So you want to go that route. You want to go that. Noelle, do you think that if that is the way the Democrats go, more Bernie Sanders type candidates than middle-of-the-road moderate candidates like John Ossoff, of course, who tried to appeal to a Sam Nunn, I guess, pragmatic approach? Well, then what? How does a Republican feel?
I think that's a downer. I think the more extreme left they go, I think you're going to see a downward spiral of the party in itself. And look, you've got people even running. The guy that's running, I think Cunningham in South Carolina, the Democrat running against Mark Sanford, his message is, if you elect me, I'm going to not vote for Pelosi as Speaker. So you've even got, back on the Pelosi and the messaging, you've even got Democrats running for office saying that if they're elected, they're not going to vote.
Yeah, well, there is
Pelosi.
something very, very quickly on that, Sarah. I mean, if they're using Nancy Pelosi to get out the vote on the other side, maybe get her out.
Yeah, that looks like.
Sarah, what do you
that's
think of
part
that? Get rid of her because she's dragging people down if they're using her image in ads and the rest.
Well, Republicans demonizing a successful woman on the left is nothing new. I think the point is that our leadership
worked, right? It turned election.
I think we definitely need to make sure that we're committed to a bold economic vision and willing to challenge power in this election.
Ladies, thank you both very much. You were in agreement on so many things. I think